Hey everyone, I hope you all have had a good holiday break. I've had a lot of time to reflect on the past year, so today I wanted to bring you my top 10 theme parks. I've never really done a park rankings video, but I will probably alternate every year between this and my top coasters video, just to keep things fresh and to allow my list to update more. Because trust me, they're always changing. I'll start with some parks that could be on this list, but won't be because I haven't been to them yet. But hopefully next year, we'll see. The first one is Six Flags Great America near Chicago. Outside of being the biggest Six Flags park that I've never been to and having an incredible lineup of roller coasters, Great America has always been a fascinating park to me because of its history. I really just haven't made it to the Chicago area yet, but with Wrath of Rakshasa opening in 2025, I'm definitely going to try and make a stop or two. The other park that I'm pretty sure will make this list once I visit is Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. This park also has an RMC, which I'm very excited to do. My friends that have visited tell me how amazing this park is and how they think it's the best park in America, so I really need to find out for myself. For some parks that just missed out on the list, King's Dominion is an extremely hard park for me to rank just because it's my home park and it's hard not to be biased, but King's Dominion really does a lot of things well. It probably has the best 1-2 coaster punch in the whole country, but I'd be lying to you if I told you the park wasn't missing something. Repterra is certainly going to help things, but now that we also have the Anaconda replacement on the horizon, things are definitely looking up. But I'd say that they are 1 or 2 big attractions away, depending on what they get, from having a real shot of making it onto my top 10. And that's sort of the case for the rest of the parks in this category, like Six Flags Over Georgia, Carowinds, Six Flags Over Texas, and Six Flags New England. You also have Six Flags Great Adventure, which if I made this video last year, probably would have been on this list. But you guys all know the situation there, so anyways, here's my top 10. Going into Dollywood, I had very mixed expectations. I understood that it was majority a family-based park, but it still had high thrill attractions like Wild Eagle, Tennessee Tornado, and of course Lightning Rod. As you may be able to tell though, I was very impressed with Dollywood. I will say that on both visits I had, it was extremely busy, but I was able to use my time correctly to get all the rides I wanted, including my only rides on launched Lightning Rod. I'm very curious to see what direction Dollywood goes in, as they have mainly steered towards family roller coasters and attractions in recent years. I think the way that they have implemented their different areas, included Wildwood Grove, is genius, and even the family roller coasters have a thrill appeal to them. Compared to other parks on this list, it definitely does not hold up as much when it comes to its coaster lineup, which is what I'm mainly using as criteria for this list, but I am taking other things into consideration, such as park atmosphere. Dollywood pretty much does everything a park can do well, pretty much better than everyone, so even though the roller coaster collection may not be my favorite, it definitely deserves a spot on this list. Number 9 is a park which I am very much looking forward to going back, as it's been 2 years at this point since I've been, which is Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's Berry Farm really does not feel like a traditional theme park compared to other parks which were in the then Cedar Fair chain. It really felt different. At the same time though, I felt like it had a unique collection of rides that only few parks could offer. I will admit my experience at Knott's was not the best considering that Accelerator was still receiving a refurbishment during my time, but I didn't let that take away from the amazing time that I had at this park, because it's really so much to enjoy and there's so much to take in. At number 8 is one of 3 parks on this list that I visited on my most recent trip to Florida, which is SeaWorld Orlando. The last time I was at SeaWorld Orlando was in 2022 when Kraken was being repainted, Manta was being worked on, and Icebreaker wasn't open. I knew I didn't get the park at its full potential, but I didn't even know at the time that there would be 2 additional roller coasters when I came back. Between the lack of long lines, the amazing attractions, the cool shows and theming, SeaWorld really exceeded what I thought it could be. I will say at this park, more so than any probably on this list, it's really missing a standout wow attraction. That's not to throw shade on any coaster like Mako, but compared to some parks, particularly the Busch Gardens parks, SeaWorld Orlando does feel a little lacking still, but I'm sure that will change in the near future. Speaking of the Busch Gardens parks, my number 7 park is Busch Gardens Tampa, another park I did on my most recent Florida trip. Obviously, Iron Gwazi really makes this park stand out, but there is so much more to Busch Gardens Tampa than Gwazi. Despite Kumba and a few other attractions being closed on my most recent visit, the coaster lineup still felt extremely complete and it's really hard to feel bored when you're at the park. Going back to Busch Gardens was one of my highlights of this year, being able to enjoy the park for 2 full days. But while we're on the subject of the Busch Gardens, my number 6 park is the Busch Gardens a little closer to my house, which is Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It definitely is really close between the 2 parks, but I think I'll give the edge to BGW because of the better theme and setting. It's really unbelievable being at a theme park in the setting that Busch Gardens Williamsburg is in. Year after year, it wins the award for the most beautiful theme park, and it's extremely easy to see why. I honestly think that the coaster lineup at Busch Gardens Tampa may be a little bit better, but the overall experience you get at Busch Gardens Williamsburg is why I have this park ranked higher. There really is no park like it, and it's definitely the best park in the SeaWorld chain. It's weird to even say that Kings Island is a part of the Six Flags chain, but here we are. This year, I got to spend 2 days at Cedar Point before my singular day at Kings Island, so it definitely got a bit overshadowed, but Kings Island is simply an amazing park. It has an extremely diverse coaster lineup, and I know that they still have the Vortex replacement to deal with, but it really didn't feel like the park was missing anything. It's a very complete park, and while I think some of the themed areas like Action Zone are a little outdated, the rides themselves are top of the line. I did notice that some of the coasters here, particularly Diamondback and Banshee, had a pretty significant rattle to them, even for a B&M from that time period, but it's nothing that causes headbanging or completely ruins the ride. I'm very excited to see the direction Kings Island heads in, because I really think great things are coming to this park. The other one of my home parks, it's really unbelievable to think how great of a coaster lineup Hershey Park has. A couple of years ago, I would have told you Hershey Park was missing their #1 attraction to truly put them in the category of like the best theme park in the country. And while I can still tell you that they aren't #1, they definitely got their ride. Wildcats Revenge was a slam dunk coaster edition. Will we see another coaster in the front of the park? It looks like only time will tell. But I think regardless, Hershey stands as one of the most complete theme park experiences in the country. Some of you may be surprised to see it this low on the list, but at number 3 is the one and only Cedar Point. I think if someone who really isn't in the know about theme parks goes to Cedar Point, it's really easy for them to feel overwhelmed with everything to do, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Obviously, this year I was very disappointed that I was not able to ride Top Thrill 2, but it really makes it easy to forget about that when you look at what they have coming next year. Top Thrill 2 should hopefully be back in action for more than an extended weekend, but Siren's Curse really adds a new dynamic to this lineup. I think it's kind of funny how last second of an addition this truly was, but it's only going to make this incredible lineup at Cedar Point that much better. Number 2 is my favorite traditional theme park, which is Six Flags Magic Mountain. Outside of my number 1 spot, of course, no park has blown me away quite like Six Flags Magic Mountain did. I went there for the first time in January of 2023, and I knew I didn't get the full experience, so I had to go back that March. In addition to having the most well-rounded coaster lineup in the country, Magic Mountain provides scenery and atmosphere that I just haven't seen at any other theme park. This park really exemplifies what Six Flags should be, the place with the most and the best roller coasters. I think there may be a lot of change on the horizon for this park, but as long as the new Six Flags Corporation keeps Magic Mountain as their favorite park and continues the legacy of its additions, then this park will be near the top of this list. But for my number 1 spot, after my most recent trip, I knew no other park deserved to be here quite like Universal Orlando, which includes Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. I think the key for Universal is to allow yourself to get the full experience. It's really hard to do both parks in one day, which is what I did, but if you make the most of your time, it's still possible to do all the attractions you want to do. From Incredible Hulk, to Spider-Man, to Velocicoaster, to Revenge of the Mummy and Rip Ride Rockit, Universal is truly a one-of-one experience. As I was making this video, the plans to remove Rip Ride Rockit have been released, so with that addition coming in the next few years, as well as the opening of Epic Universe, there's a lot to enjoy and there's a lot to look forward to. And yeah, that's my top 10 theme parks. I suspect this list will change over the next year or two, and I can't wait to get back to some of these parks on this list because it's been a few years. But that's pretty much all I got for you today, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.